distraction. That's the name of the game. We are not supposed to notice what is going on around us. We are supposed to just kind of drift through buying, eating, excreting, buying, eating, excreting in a grand bulimia of life that we never bother to question what is going on around us. Don't question authority. Do what authority tells you to do. Well, you know, she mentioned all 8 of my great-grandparents here before statehood, and I think besides having deep roots, it probably meant that they were all rascals wherever they were at, and they were misfits and didn't fit in, and they decided to go someplace. It probably meant that they were all rascals wherever they were at, and they were misfits and didn't fit in, and they decided to go someplace where there was, you know, less going on, and that they could have more freedom and build the lives that they wanted to build for themselves and those they loved. And isn't that what all of us want to do in our own ways and lives here? We have people we love, we have people that love us. We're trying to make our way forward into a future that is increasingly hostile and uncertain, where we are buffeted about by great forces and events that we have no control over, that we don't understand, that seemingly come out of nowhere and then just whap us upside the head. One moment we're doing fine, we have a job, we have health insurance, we have a retirement plan. The next moment we're on the street, and finding a new job becomes problematic, and we think you might want to try to start our own business, but then that's problematic too, so problematic it's practically against the law. But anyway, we're here to talk about food, to talk about GMOs, to talk about Monsanto. And I think that the message that I have about food is, when it comes to food, you get what you pay for, and you get where you pay for it too. Because, you know, when you buy food at the supermarkets, you're paying for some pretty terrible things that go on, and not just the GMOs, but the way the animals are treated in the concentrated animal feeding operations. Every bit of burger in a grocery store comes from an animal that was sick when it went to the processing facility, and that's true of the poultry also. You know, the birds in those CAFOs are so miserable that they burn off their beaks, because if they didn't do that, they would peck themselves and each other to death. They load their feed with antibiotics. Our CAFO system is just a breeding ground for diseases and pandemics. You can forget about terrorism. The next pandemic is going to come out of a swine farm. You can bet your last dollar on that. So when it comes to Monsanto, Monsanto is a great threat to natural and organic agriculture. They want control over the seed supply. They want everyone to buy their seeds from them. They're perpetuating the insane notion that the problem with hunger in this world is a lack of food. The problem is not a lack of food. The problem is the politics and the economics. Every famine in the 20th century was not caused by an absolute lack of food. It was caused by evil politics and evil economics that kept people hungry for the benefit of somebody, because you can better believe that every one of those famines, there were people that made money on that deal and that profited by the use of coercion against people who all they wanted to do is grow food and eat. And if Monsanto had its way, they would be the source of seed, and that the future is for them is Monsanto, and the future for us is to be their serfs. And I personally am not willing to be a serf of Monsanto, and that's why, among other reasons, we started the Oklahoma Food Cooperative, because we wanted to make it easier for people to buy food directly from Oklahoma farmers. We wanted to make it easier for people to buy food that they can understand how it was produced. You can actually pick up the phone and call somebody that's producing your food and say, well, just exactly how do you farm your land? Just exactly how do you treat your animals? I know the first names of everybody who grew every ounce of meat that is in my freezer at home, and the same is true for the vegetables that are in the freezer and the refrigerator. And I'm able to do that because I shop at the Oklahoma Food Cooperative, or I go to the farmer's market, or I go to Urban Agrarian, or I go to Native Roots, all of which are stores right here in Oklahoma City that sell foods that were grown and made right here in Oklahoma City, and that are free of genetically modified organisms. You know, and I'll tell you, that is the only way that we're going to defeat this, because I think if we depend upon the national politics, or if we depend upon our state politics, we will grow old and die of strange and unusual diseases caused by GMOs in our food supply. before our government does anything rational about it. I say that the best solution to Monsanto is bankruptcy, that we should just drive them right to the bankruptcy court where their company is just picked apart and sold off and just no longer exists. And the same is true for Archer Daniels Midland and the rest of all that other big ag people who are into this GMO scam and pushing the whole idea that bigger farms are somehow better than smaller farms. The government has been actively involved with driving farmers off the land for 50 years, and they are continuing to do that today. And if they have their way, the future will be just a handful of very large corporate farms that are farmed according to Monsanto's dictates, using Monsanto seeds. And if we start having health problems because of it, well, what do they care? As far as they're concerned, there's too many poor people anyway, and the best solution for poverty is that the poor people should just die. You know, I mean, that's really the way they think in Washington, D.C. and the state capitol. They don't think that they care about us. None of us give them any money. We don't vote for them. So as far as we're concerned, we're just useless eaters. And if something happens to us, if we get cancer because of Monsanto or because of the chemical herbicides and pesticides that are found on our foods, you know, go to the Environmental Working Group, Google Environmental Working Group, and just see what's on your apples. Never eat an apple that's not organic. Never eat celery that's not organic, because tests show that there are as many as 90 different pesticide residues on every stalk of celery coming from a conventional store, and apples are just right up there with it. So, I mean, if you like doing a chemical experiment with your body, well, then, you know, nibble on those conventional apples and celery and things like that. But personally, I like my body just fine the way that it is, and I don't need any extra appendages. I don't want my kids to have any extra appendages, to have any weird colors. You know, I mean, if they have a weird color, let them get a tattoo, you know, and let them make that choice themselves. You know, let's stop playing. What we're doing is we have this gigantic scientific experiment that is going on, that's being conducted on our bodies without our consent and without our knowledge. So we need to label all foods that contain GMO ingredients. We need to demand that. We need to not shop at stores that don't do that. When you go to buy for less sometime, you need to ask a clerk and you say, can I speak with the store manager? And then you need to tell that store manager, I shop here, but I'm going to quit shopping here if you guys don't start giving me some ideas to what products have GMOs. And do the same. You shouldn't shop at Walmart, but go talk with the Walmart manager anyway and tell them that. And, you know, and do that again and again and again, because they're responsive to what their customers want. And we need to tell them what they want so they know and they can give it to us. And I just want to return to what I started out with, and that is you get what you pay for. I've been involved with lifestyle resistance all my life, practically, since I left home. And it is a wonderful way to live. It gives you incredible freedom in the midst of this whole system the way that it is. But you get what you pay for. Buy from local farmers. Don't buy GMOs. Drive Monsanto into bankruptcy. Thank you.
Yeah!